All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all doing well, or good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Just gonna wait a couple more minutes to see if we can get more people to join us. Seems everyone's tuning in via YouTube today. So welcome everyone on joining us on YouTube. Today's class is an open discussion. So you can feel free to ask any questions or comments or concerns you may have, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. Also, hopefully we'll be able to get to the other prayer diagrams we have. We get through a couple of pages and then further our discussion on prayer and the manipulation of spiritual energies. So we're just gonna wait a couple more minutes to see if more people join us, and then we'll start the class with our prayer for spiritual workers and then open the floor for questions. Let's go ahead and begin class with prayer for spiritual workers, and then we'll start taking your questions. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, I, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. All right. Welcome, everyone, to another open discussion class. This is the class 55. As per usual, feel free to ask any questions you may have in the chat, or if you're joining us via Zoom, you can use the raise hand feature and ask your questions audibly. It doesn't look like there's a lot of people on today. Well, that's okay. We'll still answer your questions. And then afterwards, once we get through the question and answer period, we'll go through the handouts and continue our discussion on prayer, which I have right here. So we finished the first page. So next we'll go into a conversation about understanding the power of love energy. In our last open discussion in last week, there were a couple of questions that were brought up on love energy, and Nehemiah answered those questions. They gave us a lot of information and discussion on what it is, its power and its unique characteristic in being able to multiply itself. So hopefully we'll be able to make it through page 2 and maybe page 3 today. Before that, let's open the floor and receive your questions. So do you have any questions? All right, since there are no questions, let's go ahead and move into the diagrams. All right, so we're taking a deeper look into the power of love energy. And it starts off the diagram here with love is an initial creative force from the original potential of the absolute. All right, so that should sound familiar to you as we've looked at the creation of the universe from the mystic perspective. We looked at the types of energies that are released from the absolute. They're molded and formed and shaped into different qualities of energies that can be used by the various life forms depending on their level of evolution. In previous classes, we've also talked about the Diva Kingdom and how they intertwine with this process, both cosmically and here on Earth. So all of these terms should be becoming more and more familiar to you as we move through these diagrams, these open discussions, and all the classes that Nehemiah has made available. But if you do have questions on them, feel free to ask, and we'll answer those for you. So we have, it is a preservative power and a carrying agent for mind and prana. It links you to the prospective target. It maintains and expands the energy flow, and it has transmuting powers. Okay. So next we see an image of the psychic center within the palm of the hands. And this is some of the ways that we manipulate and utilize love energy. And this image represents the flow of subtle cosmic energies or pranas being projected through a mystic mudra technique used in healing and prayer. It uses several ancient forms of yoga to achieve this concentrated projection of these subtle energies or pranas. So on the left here, we have a contact healing technique, which utilizes projecting the pranas through the psychic center in the palms, or this mudra technique. You see the healers are projecting the energy directly to the patients. And if you look closely at the picture, let me see if I can zoom in a bit, you'll notice that they are projecting the energies through their respective centers in the patient's body. So in this picture here is the cry center, the center here, the throat center. And this illustration in the middle gives you an idea of how that energy appears, that it is moving through this, being projected through the psychic center in the palm. And then on the right, we have a illustration or demonstration of the prayer and absentee healing techniques. It's the same technique we use when we do our prayers in the 12 blessings, or any type of prayer that you may choose to use. You'll notice it's different than some of us who were raised in more orthodox or traditional religions, in that we do not, the hands are not clasped together, but the hands are open so that we can allow for a free flow of the energies to go out to our respective target or to the world as a whole, whomever you're praying to or for. As we move down, oops, sorry. The spiritual healing practitioner uses mind energies to impregnate it with pure healing thoughts, which serves to pull the energies together under a specific purpose towards a specific direction. The mind energies within the flow of prana act as a design specification for the healing energy being projected. Now, one thing that jumps out to me when reading this paragraph is in many, many times, whenever the question on meditation is brought up, or the term meditation is brought up, Nehemiah always stresses the true meaning of meditation. And he'll always go back and break it down into his three key elements: concentration, contemplation, and then meditation. Then he'll always stress about how important it is for us to develop our concentration, and even go so far as to recommend concentration techniques to help us develop and strengthen our concentration. And why? Well, this is one of the reasons why here. When you are performing healing or prayer, it is vitally important that you concentrate solely on sending out spiritual and uplifting healing energies, and do not cloud those energies with any, extra or negative thoughts. Because we are using our imagination or concentration to send out these energies. We don't want to color or distort that energy and do harm to our patient, or negatively impact the power of our praying energy. So these couple of paragraphs that we're going to read through is the science behind prayer. And knowing this will allow you to pull down or make a greater demand upon the pranic energies and send them out, and increase the efficacy of your prayer power. Right? So mind substance has the ability to hold subtle energies in a pattern formulated by mental thoughts. Mind substances holds prana in a specific pattern, while love energies preserves the prana in its cycle of operation. So if you remember in previous classes, we said that mind molds and shapes prana, and that love energy that we call upon holds that particular molding or shape of that prana energies in existence throughout the cycle of operation. So these two energies go hand in hand. As you think about the AUM diagram, where the A is creation, U preservation, and the M is transmutation, we mold and shape those creative energies, and through love, it is preserved throughout its particular cycle of operation. This love energy also carries and maintains the strength of the projected flow of energies. Pure love energies are gained through enlightenment of impersonal love energies. True love is impersonal and void of selfish emotions. So Nehemiah, I have a question here. When you say pure love energies are gained through enlightenment, does that mean we can only express pure love after gaining enlightenment?
Yeah, we are taught that pure love, you can contact and radiate pure love at the heart, throat, and Christ center. So in order to reach those chakras, and in fact, when you fully raise the power Kundalini, you have to bring it up to at least the throat chakra, which enters you into enlightenment and a pure source of power. So that's the rule. And we have versions of pure love on different levels of our existence. but the pure love that we're seeking happens at those chakra levels.
At the heart, throat, and Christ center.
Yes.
And so everyone, if you're listening closely to what Nehemiah just said, you will, and you look back at the prayer and absentee healing technique, you'll notice that when we raise the palms and the hands in that position, we are also activating the heart center. Now, no, this mudra does not push us up into an enlightened state, but in activating the heart center, it allows us to, at least on a basic level, reach a type of pure love state, and thereby giving our prayer and healing energies greater power. I think in the next diagram we'll actually break down the prayer mudra technique. So I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but I just wanted to mention that because when Nehemiah was talking, it brought that to mind. Okay, this type of Anana yoga elevates the consciousness to the point where you are given the ability to link yourself with anything in order to transfer healing energies. Okay, so this point here is actually one of the secrets or the science, you can say, behind how absentee healing and prayer works. This Nana yoga technique, it allows us to link ourselves directly, no matter the distance, with anything or anyone or whatever we're sending those healing energies to. When we are sending out absentee healing, we are told to visualize the patient not in a infirmed or sickly position, but to visualize them standing strong and healthy and filled with this white healing energy. And it is that through that visualization that we connect ourselves to the patient and send the healing energies to them. Now, you don't necessarily have to even know the patient. You can, just by stating the name of the patient, you're able to connect yourselves to them and send them healing energy as well. But it is best that if you if someone asks you to send healing to someone, or you're sending healing to someone, to at least have a picture of them or a name so that you can visualize the energy going directly to that individual or to whomever you're sending the prayers to. In this case with the 12 blessings, we're not sending prayer energy to a specific individual, but to either entities or collective group consciousness. And in that case, we're taught just to send the energy out. We don't really know what a Lord of creation looks like or whatever, but so we just send energy out and visualize it going out to that respective target. And it works just the same. Okay, so any questions on those points of contact healing? Or is there anything you'd like to add, Nehemiah?
One point is that when the mudra techniques are designed to activate those chakra centers, and when you do that, you have a shift in your consciousness. Your consciousness has risen momentarily to that level to allow a free flow of energy. And in most cases, always on the basic levels, always we project the energy from the heart chakra. We are told that it is there when dealing with the chakras, the heart chakras and the palms of the hand. In the palms of the hand, you have a major chakra system. You have a major chakra. It's part of the major chakra system within the body, the palms of the hands. So those are the 2 points that that you should always try to project energy until you develop a good level of contemplation. You shouldn't try to project energies anywhere else. So that's why you raise your hands, in order to activate that level of consciousness, because a chakra is a level of consciousness, and you want to operate from there because things are filtered uh, at that point. If you project from chakras lower than that, they're not necessarily filtered properly. So that's one of the reasons why we do that.
And this filtering happens naturally because of the nature of the technique, or it's something that's actively done either by the aura or the higher self, or?
Yeah, it's a natural filter, just like the throat center is a natural filter, and it's a point where karma is pressurized. So if you have it's one of the techniques you're taught in the basic levels of tantra, when you begin to loom the yogas together in order to develop yourself, you're taught never to curse a person with your tongue, because what happens is that it becomes 3 and 4 and 5-fold the pressures of karma. So you don't consciously go and curse a person, that's not good, because everything is elevated at the throat level. And that's why mankind, we bring about negative karma on himself so much, because of how he curse or belittle or put people down verbally. So in Yama, you're taught to control that activity, and not to, because you have to formulate a thought. And where you formulate a thought, you formulate a thought at the perspective conscious level you're at, but you release that at a higher conscious level. You use the throat, which is the purification process. So you had plenty of time to change and mold your forward action. So there's no excuse once it come out of your mouth.
So are you saying that the pause of the moment of reflection, when you are thinking something and you catch yourself, good, bad, or ugly, you catch yourself before you say it, whether you mumble it or say it out loud, that moment of pause and reflection is an opportunity for you to manage that negative karma that you're bringing on yourself before you actually say it?
Right, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why you find some yogis who have noticed that the people who become yogis or students of mysticism, they go through a period of silence. Some of them go through a period of silence for a couple of months. Some of them go through a period of silence in cycles for months, or some of them go through a period of silence for years, in order to try to correct those things. And then when they come out, they make they dedicate themselves to not to curse or belittle or you know, or send negative energy towards any living being. It's called a purification point for a reason.
Okay. So are there any questions so far? It's supposed to be an open discussion. I'm doing a lot of talking. That's all right. Let's continue on to this paragraph next here called the love energies. The love energies introduced into the projected flow of healing and prayer energies have a preserving effect on the projected energies. These elevated love energies preserves the flow of projected power from point A to point B. Right. Hold on, Lisa. I need my glasses. I can't see your question. Okay, Lisa has a question here. Thoughts incur karma as well, but to a lesser degree, perhaps? Okay, so her question is, do our thoughts also incur karma?
Yeah, thoughts do incur uh, negative karma, and it depends on that person. Some people are deep thinkers, and some people are surface thinkers. They don't put a lot of energy behind their thoughts. Those people who do put a lot of energy behind their thoughts, they, you know, that thought has a longer lifespan before it dies out. So yeah, thoughts do incur karma, and it depends on the energy behind that thought. Because every thought you think, you bring that into manifestation, and it has a lifespan, and that lifespan pulls on energy and projects energy the same way you do. In order for you to exist in a cycle of manifestation, then you pull down energy, you project that energy, and and by doing that, you add to the the mental makeup of your neighborhood, of your state, and of your country and the world. So you actually discolor the mental and vital energies of this earth in the same way your thoughts do. Your thoughts do that within the auric fields and outside of the auric fields as well.
Okay. Go ahead and feel free to ask any questions you may have, and I'll get those answered for you. In the meantime, I'll continue on with the diagram. Point A, or first check mark, love is a creative cosmic energy. Love energy is the third degree of the initial creative forces. Love energies have the ability to link the healer or prayer to all living things. Love energies set the time cycles for impregnated mind substance laced in the projected energies. That's an interesting point there. To set the time cycles. Does that mean that love is um, outside of or beyond the dimension, 7 dimensions?
What do you love? You remember, love is a one of the great Shakti principles.
Right.
You know, love is one of the is part of the four main Shakti principles that's used to create and maintain and preserve all life within the universe. So it's a preservative power, and based on the Shakti modification or the Shakti principles, all realms of existence are developed according to their karmic signatures. So the 7 dimensions are derived from that creative force.
And are preserved by love.
Yeah.
Or kept in manifestation.
All energies are preserved by love.
Okay.
By the love energy. It's a preservational type energy, which makes it a part of the mental family in energies.
So it's not affected by time, but it affects time in a sense.
Yeah, it almost creates time in a sense.
It says your love energy has the ability to link the healer of prayer to all living things. Now that connection already exists. So does love energy strengthen that connection when it's employed through healing or prayer?
It brings about a conscious connection.
Okay.
I mean, if you take on something, like I always say, if you love something, what's your first instinct?
To take care of it, to preserve it.
Yeah, to take care of it and preserve it. So what does that do? It forces you to do what to
it? To link and focus on it, concentrate on it.
To touch it. And in science, we learn that what? When we touch something, we create a what?
An exchange.
An exchange, yeah, an exchange. So you link yourself to that. And you know, there's a chemical bonding that's happening. And then you carefully preserve it by encasing it in something or handle that with much care. So you know, that's just our nature. It happens physically, it happens mentally, it happens emotionally, and it can happen spiritually once you understand love energy.
Love energies have the ability to expand and reproduce from itself. It has the ability to create the power it is preserving through time from itself. This is something Nehemiah has talked about in the past, where love has the ability to multiply itself times 4 against itself and continue on to its target. And in fact, if you in Dear Society teachings, there's actually a occurrence of Dr. George King utilizing love energies in a very specific and potent way in a particular mission. In many missions, actually, but one in particular, to transmute a particular aggressive force entity. So I think that's it for this diagram. Are there any questions, any more questions on this page before we move on to the next one? Or is there anything you'd like to add before we move on to this next page, Nima?
No, no. Did you read the top here? Because those like highlight was down here.
At this part up here, yeah, I read this part.
I'm talking about these phrases.
Yeah, these phrases, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's move on to page 3.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, so really it's about the yogis who you said have to have silence for a couple of months or even years. It's a purification process. So since we're in the age of service, isn't they kind of still creating negative karma by not using their voice for like prayer or mantra to put out, energy to help the world?
No, that's not so. I mean, because what they're doing is a technique to prepare them to be a greater instrument for service. Now, when a lot of the yogis or students that decide to, because you can go to some of these retreats, some of them handle it differently. It's all right to say a mantra because that's creating positive karma if you say the mantra properly. But it's helping you to gain control over your thoughts and your tongue by being of silence. Now, when you go to speak again, you speak with a greater force, a greater reverence, and you are conscious of your ability to create harm. If you contain something, then you have a great control over that thing. If you recognize that you have the power to contain something or control something, then you have a greater power over that thing. Anything in movement always have a mechanism to control it, which the mechanism is the whole theory behind X and O. You have non-movement and then movement, control, and then control is utilizing the two forces of X and O. So that's everywhere. That's everywhere and all throughout nature. Bernard, you can speak about that. You're an engineer too, as well. So you always need that. You always need that type of balance. And unfortunately, a lot of people go around in the world and they just use one side of it. And that's what creates the negative flux. You understand, Kevin?
Yeah.
All right, Jack, I see your hand is raised. Go ahead and ask your question.
Hello there. Yes, I'm in an online healing group. We meet twice a week, and we do the 12 blessings, and then we send out healing. So everyone reads out their healing list, and probably people read the name of a person, and then so we're all reading the name. So probably it's about 5 or 6 seconds per person, and we don't know the person. We can't envisage anything, but does the healing go out then? I mean, are we doing good? And is there anything we can do to enhance the practice when we're doing it over Zoom? So.
It's as long as everyone's focusing on sending that energy to the name that was just spoken. So, I mean, it's still doing good. You don't have to see the person. You don't have to know the person. You just have to direct the energy towards that person. Everyone's name has a particular signature to it and a frequency that links that energy to that person because someone spoke that name. So they open a frequency to that person. And then because you are in hearing of that spoken name, then you can send energy to that person.
So do we have to repeat the name in our heads? Or
not necessarily. If you want to, you can, but not necessarily, no.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Because remember, your subconscious mind has a photographic memory, even though you're not aware of it.
So we don't concentrate on sending energy to the person who's reading the name, but concentrate on sending energy to a person whose name is read out.
If the person whose name read out, your subconscious mind know you gave a command to your subconscious mind to send energies to the person who's reading the name out, to the names that are being read out. So As long as you made that mental command, it's going to happen. The one thing about the subconscious mind is a loyal servant to the lords of karma. That's the part of you that will not go against law. It received a command, therefore it will carry that command out. For good or bad for you. So that's the way it works. So as long as you're participating in that group and you physically hear that name, and you have gave the subconscious mind a command to send energy to that person through your mudra technique, then it's going to happen.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
There's a question here. Why does love have the ability to reproduce itself 4 times?
We are told that is the nature of that energy. That, in other words, let's describe it a little better. Because it's an energy of preservation. If you, and that's why that most people and this is the reason why most people cannot tap into the pure love until they reach a certain level of consciousness. It's because this is one of the powers of using love, pure love energy. And that is that if you're trying to help someone and you send them this love energy in order to help raise their consciousness, and you send it as a pure love energy, then that love energy will go to that person, and that person may have a barrier around itself not to accept any energy like that love energy. at the frequency of that love energy, because that entity is interested in operating from the negative state that is operating from. So the unique ability of love energy is that it will bounce off that auric field or shield, and it will multiply itself by 4 and return. And when it returned, it will return with a force multiplied by 4. So let's say if it had a force of 10 going in the first time, it will come back with a force of 40. And it will hit that barrier and if it doesn't penetrate at that point, it will bounce off and multiply itself by 4 again. So now it's going back as 160. So, and it'll keep doing that until the barrier is broken. And that's the power of love, because it preserves and it carries out its action. And in order to multiply itself, it pulls on that original, that endless original source of the absolute. And therefore, pure love, like I said earlier, is contactable by those individuals who can raise Kundalini to at least the throat center. And because at that point, that person is ready to enter into the Christ center, and they understand the law of karma to the point where they will not misuse that type of energy.
All right, a couple of questions here. First one is, what techniques can one use to channel enough chi in the body?
Pranayama and mantra, and you can use prayer as well, which is a combination of both.
And the next question is, do you have to combine the negative and positive energies with your breath and imagination?
The question is, what do they call negative energy? Because there's so much confusion out there. There's a positive negative energy, which is mind. Mind is a negative energy, but in a positive manner. Shakti is a negative energy on the universal scale. It becomes a positive energy on the manifested scale. So you have to understand what negative energy is. You use mental energy, which is a negative energy, to shape and mold vital energy, which is a positive energy within the body. Yes, you use the two, because in the Natis, you have Ida, which is mental energy, and you have Pingala, which is positive energy flow. And when you cross the two, you have consciousness. So you have to use Ida and Pingala in order to work through a field of consciousness to do whatever you need to do. So that's positive and negative energies. You cannot have consciousness without using positive and negative energies.
Okay, and this is a follow-up question to love's ability to reproduce itself by 4. And asking, is that because it is feeding the 4 lower bodies?
No, no. No, that's just the nature of love energy. That's one of the unique qualities of love energy. And like I said, it's one of the greatest energies in the universe. And love energies preserve everything on every level. They say we live by the grace of of God and the grace of the masters. That's because they produce this tremendous love energy to protect us and preserve us. If we, we only exist because of the sun's relentless service to us. We only exist because in this environment here because of the earth, and so those are, that's love energy. But the sun and the earth have tremendous power, and they hold that power in abeyance in order to help us. So the reason why that power exists is to preserve all life, not only just the lower levels of life, but all life, on all realms of existence. And it can be manipulated by those people who have reached that level of as a devata or a great master, a great adept or master who's on the brink of a devata or is a devata, which is someone who works within the confined laws of karma without bringing negative karma to themselves or to the people around them.
Okay. Are there any further questions? All right. So wait for questions to come in. I'll continue on with the diagram and move into a technical discussion on the techniques for projecting prayer energies. So right now we'll be zeroing in and studying the prayer mudra technique. So point 1, the mystic prayer technique has an intelligent design that uses the ancient wisdom of the masters and the great path of yoga. This knowledge gives design, operational direction, and purpose under the laws of karma. Okay. Number 2, the mind energies used to build and design the mental configuration that holds the stream of energies together in motion is the result of the great wisdom placed into action by the mystic technique of prayer. Number 3, the subtle energies are impregnated by the mental intent released from the spoken words of the well-balanced and formulated prayer being performed with great spiritual reverence and controlled passion to the target with purpose and direction towards that choice target. Number 4, the spiritual reverence and controlled passion is brought about by the power of love, the great preserving energy of nature. This love energy preserves the projected pranas from point A, the origin, or from you, the prayer, to point B, which is the target of the prayer or healing energy. Okay. Now move on here to a look at the prayer mudra technique. First box here, the lifting of the arms as indicated in the picture in a mudra yoga technique. This helps to activate a flow of energy towards the heart chakra and allows a clear channel to push this prayer energy through. So we raise our hands here. Almost at a 90 degrees, the palms of the hands and up. Some hold it back here, some hold a little bit forward, but it's generally this area here. And that helps to activate the heart center. And when we visualize the energy traveling out or being projected from the palms of the hands, it's here, and also from the heart center. So from those 3 points, the energy is we visualize energy being traveling out to either the target or to the world as a whole. The second box, the mudra, allows you to stand or sit down, but in an erect manner with the spine always straight up. The mystic prayer technique uses a mudra yoga procedure to seal, redirect, and redistribute the prayer power generated and configured with direction and purpose towards a person, place, or thing. Okay. The prayer projection diagram. So here, this is the mudra yoga technique depicted here on the left-hand side. And then depicted here is the projected prayer energies. The first box in the top right, subtle energies or pranas being projected through a mystic yoga technique of prayer that uses several ancient forms of yoga to achieve this concentrated projection of these subtle energies, prana. The prayer practitioner uses mind energies to mold, shape, and hold the flow of prayer energy together in order to project the stream of impregnated subtle energies out to its target. The mind energies introduce purpose and direction into the flow of prayer power. The mind energies within the flow of prana act as a design specification for the prayer energy being projected. Okay. The love energies introduced into the projected flow of prayer energies have a preserving effect on the prayer energies being projected. These elevated love energies preserves the flow of prayer. Observes the flow of prayer of energies from point A, the point performing the prayer, and to point B, the target of the prayer energies. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, Nehemiah?
One of the things I can add that, which I didn't put in a diagram, but mind energy uses imagination. And inside imagination, you have three main components, which is the ability to imagine, which is a creative force, and then the ability to visualize, which is a vital force, but is also a preservative force. And so you have mind, vital energy, and love energy in imagination, because you imagine something, and then your visualization of that thing preserves it from A to B. So that's something about imagination visualization. You always hear people say imagination visualization. And the reason why is because the imagination creates it, the visualization sustains it. And that sustaining thing is the vital energy moving to the direction of the mind energy under the power of the love energy that's preserving it.
Okay, so in absence of healing, when we're taught to visualize the target, not in their infirm or sickly state, but as, you know, standing well and vital and healed and strong, that's what we're doing. We're using our visualization to call upon the love energy to preserve them in that state, or to return them to that state.
Yeah. So you're using three different energies, the primary, three different major energies: mind energy, vital energy, and love energy.
I got a question. It applies to this, but it really applies to visualization. But the preservative aspect of this determines the lifespan of the energy invoked and directed. So there is no real way to determine, I guess, the extent of which that which you projected remains in existence or vital enough to cause change.
Well, I'm sure there's a formula, but for instance, a yogi adept can place energy in a particular object or place that can stay there for hundreds of thousands of years. Okay, and a charismatic person can place a particular energy or energy signature in something that can last for decades, maybe hundreds of years, because of their charismatic signature. So and we see that with the in our daily lives. very popular, charismatic people that's talked about in history, and you go back and you go to the place where they were, and you feel their energy signature. You know, so it's real. We just can't describe it, and it's hard for us to measure it because of our ignorance.
Okay.
So Nima, I've heard of experiments done where they've had two groups of individuals. One group they would like send to a gym to do a certain set of exercises for 30 minutes a day, 5 to 6 days a week. And then another group where they would have stay at home and for 30 minutes a day, visualize themselves going to a gym for 30 minutes doing the same exercises. And what they found at the end of the experiment is that those who only did the visualization, their bodies showed similar results as to those who actually went to the gym themselves. So is that an example of using visualization to invoke mind to mold and shape even the physical body into what they're visualizing?
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, certain patients who damaged their nerves, which left them in a paralyzed state, some of them was able to repair those nerves and walk, run, and even win an Olympics. so yeah, you have imagination visualization type practices that can do that. But remember, I just want you to understand that that's what it is. I mean, you got to see things as it is. That is mental energy. Is it's the mental energy of it's the creative mental energy of imagination, and then it's the vital preservative energy of visualization that makes it complete and brings about the results.
So going back to Bernard's question, which you were saying before, if I were to, in a similar way, every single day, visualize a particular, I don't know, result or thing that I want to materialize, that would be the kind of the key behind it. I would create the visualization in my mind, and I would concentrate upon it every single day until manifesting it into exactly what I want to achieve. Is what I'm saying.
For good or worse, it will come about. As it was told to me. Because as soon as I learned the secrets behind it and was given a technique, I tried it. So to see if it works. And it does work.
You tried what? You tried what specifically?
The visualization practice to bring something into being or to bring the elements together that I want to come together.
Oh, okay.
And if you want an incident to happen, you visualize it. You feed that visualization with energies in order to create all the right conditions to allow that to happen, or to allow the circumstances to bring things together. And it can happen for good or worse, though. And that's why you need to leave those things alone until you get to a level where you can see more than what you want to see.
I know I'm kind of going out there, but in this, I'm thinking about the story of when the master was designing the spiritual energy radiators, and he was saying that the one that he was able to visualize and build on the higher mental planes was far, far, far greater than what he was able to materialize and construct here on this gross physical plane. Um, was that simply because he was limited by time, or if he had enough time, he would have been able to bring down what he visualized and created on the higher mental plane to the physical plane, or to the gross physical plane?
No, I think it was I think it was a configuration of the properties or metals or the thing he had to work with. It wasn't refined. The material wasn't refined enough to bring about the level that he wanted. That's the way I understood that. Or that's what I understood when he was talking.
Yeah, but that's typically the case on the higher realms, especially when you're talking about engineering concepts and science and machinery. I think we are playing catch up with respect to the refinement of the matter that it takes to hold and manage those subtle energies. A classic example is solar energy. You know, it's much easier to dig oil up and the coal out the ground and burn it until you get gas than it is to take or find an element that's sensitive enough to give you the same efficiency when it's hit by any kind of light. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the thing about solar energy is that it's when you look at it, it's simplistic to the sense that it's an arrangement of the molecules of the glass or the material that's collecting it, and then being able to push that to a battery.
Yeah.
You know, but it's very complex in trying to do it because the metals or the glass or the elements are not, they don't respond to that, to mind configuration to allow us to grab the greatest capacity of that energy. And that's the same thing with on the etheric realms. Is a risen type of gross matter that responds to mind much quicker and faster than the gross matter of the physical plane. And that's why you can develop things. You can develop highly sensitive mechanical and you can do more with engineering on those planes of existence than here. But now, I mean, we are coming to the point where we are discovering the nanotechnology and you know, shaping metal and having those things respond to mental control, but we're not there yet.
There's a couple of questions here. Is the true color of the heart chakra pink?
No.
This is after a sun gazing session and viewing myself in the mirror, I can see pink around me for quite a few minutes, then to purple, then back to normal.
No, not that we know of, no.
Okay. Another question here, is the heart space opening a precursor to your Kundalini rising?
Not really, I wouldn't say that. Although any activation of any chakra, the Kundalini rises a little bit. It may not be the Kundalini from the dormant state. It might be the Kundalini that's already circulating within the nadis of the auric structure, because we have to control that kundalini first before we tap into the dormant kundalini.
Oh, so okay, so then that's a good question then. So that means when it comes to opening a center, there's two types of force that I guess directly open it. There is one that's already floating around within or circulating within the nadis. That's just part of your day-to-day existence, and adding a little bit more focus or mind substance to direct it, versus the withdrawal of the kundalini from all parts of the body and then putting that or lodging that in that single spot.
Yeah, remember the science. Remember we're told we have Ida and Pingala. Where did Ida and Pingala come from? It came from the celestial zone of Kundalini, the Kundalini goddess, which is a flow of energy. The Kundalini goddess, when the Shakti consciousness fell to the base of the spine, the Muladhara of chakra, it went into a dormant state, and the Shiva revealed itself. Remember, so that means that the whole became a not whole, and only a small percentage of the energy, the Shakti energy was released. The rest of the energy is now called Kundalini, and the energy being released is called Kundalini because it goes into this dormant state, this cocoon type state, a 3.5 energy configuration. So the energy that's released throughout the body, it goes on to create a network of vibrating energy and pathways that creates almost a concentrated matrix of consciousness on many levels, because as the idol, which is the mental energy, goes in one direction, the vital energy goes in another direction, and it creates these thousands and thousands of pathways. And some people say, well, it creates three branches of nadis, right? Or it's actually three branches and 1/3, which calculates to be like 72. Each branch is 72,000 nadi pathways, and then you have 1/3 of that of those nadi pathways, which is like 26,000. And some people even say it goes further than that. It goes to 720,000 nadi pathways. But anyway, what it does, it creates this matrix, and within that matrix, when the nadis intersect 7 times, you have a minor, you have a minute chakra or vortex center of consciousness forms. When it intersects 14 times, you have a minor vortex center of consciousness, which is a chakra, a minor chakra. And then the major chakra, you have the vortex center, you have the nadis intersects, the mental and vital energies intersects 21 times, and you have a major chakra. Now, in that matrix, all of this happened within the auric body, which is an indestructible body of the soul, which is, if you can imagine, the nebula in in the soul in inside of a galaxy, and from that nebula forms planets, they say, and sometimes solar systems. Well, with our aura is something like that nebula, and it pulls on the universal energy of the universe, and that's how it builds all of this. That's how it brought down the Shakti power. That's how it formed the Kundalini, and then the Kundalini, the Kundalini going with the Shakti power going into a Kundalini state, it releases these sounds, and it creates the mental energy and the vital energy. Now, the thing that I was talking about, the rule is that when you bring the idol and Pingala together to work in unison or run down the same channel, you create a key to rising the Kundalini, to rising the consciousness, which rises the Kundalini.
Say that again about the channel, about bringing down the same channel. Say that again.
When you bring the idol and Pingala, when you bring the idol and the Pingala together, which is the mental energy and the vital energy, and you have it travel in one direction, you raise the conscious level, which means you raise the Kundalini, because it becomes a key to what? Raising Kundalini. And that's why once you obtain idol and Pingala, and you get it to move in one direction instead of in the opposite directions, you train it to go back down to its original point, to the Muladhara chakra, and it's a natural key for unlocking the door to Sushumna. And then once you do that, the 3.5 energy configuration, which forms the Kundalini, is untangled. That 3.5 knot comes loose, and it follows the direction of the united idol and Pingala into Sushumna, into the Brahmanati, and the Brahma Nadi, and then you can fully open the chakras. And that's the rule.
But the simpleness, but I guess there's nothing simple about it. I mean, it isn't. But the key to controlling those two types of flows is really through the combination primarily of your pranayama exercises and your mantra, correct?
Right. Pranayama and mantra, which is part of Raja Yoga, which is part of the imagination visualization, the mental control over mind. Because mind is the thing you have to tame more than anything.
Correct, because the mind will ultimately affect the flow of the vital energy, but it's your conscious control of the mental energy / your own mind.
Right. Right.
So Nehemiah, once the Kundalini or the Ida Pingala energies are withdrawn from the bodies and brought into Sushumna to stimulate a rise of Kundalini, if the vital forces are removed from the body, what is sustaining the body while in Samadhi?
There's it's a natural act. There's a flow of energy that moves from the crown chakra back down to the Kundalini that stop rigor mortis from coming in. But the body goes into a conscious death state.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a line of energy that goes from the top to the bottom that stop the body from totally deteriorating.
But
So in most cases, what they teach the yogi students to do is to touch the top of the head and to make sure that the yogi is in a meditative state and not in a death state. But in most cases, when a yogi exits the body, you'll see the body reduce in size. And a very advanced yogi, because that yogi takes as much energy as it can with him or her, in order to go to the next mission, because they have learned the techniques and they have risen their mind or their consciousness to the level to know to do that. It's the same way. One of the mechanisms Dr. King gave us, since a lot of us are not capable of doing that, he gave us the holy shapes and told us to take the holy shapes and cremate it with your body. Mm-hmm. And that energy will be released to you on the other realms, and it'll give you extra energy to work with. So that's why you notice I have a ceremony with my family members who had the holy shapes, and I make sure I do it in the funeral, and then I do it in the cremation, where I make sure I stand guard to make sure that those shapes are cremated with them. Mm-hmm. So it gives them that extra energy. Now, in a normal state, you'll see the body shrink when they go into the last somatic consciousness. They drain all the energy out of the body, as much as they can take with them before they enter the hall of self-judgment.
Okay.
Let me ask you, back to the other topic. Isn't the real control or magic of the pranayama and its ability to control both the vital and mental energies, doesn't that come through not the retention of breath, but the breathing phase where there is no breathing, the pause?
Well, the breath, you have to regulate the breath, and that allows you to do two things. Well, two major things, I would say two things. One, to bring in, to help filter the energy that the auric body is pulling on from the universe, and that energy is used to tame the existing Kundalini energy within the body, which is the mental and the vital energy within the body. Okay, and you have to train yourself to move the energy through the nadi pathways, and when you get enough mental control over that, you're able to use you're able to use the power of what the yogis call back in the nature final forces, the power of locomotion. Remember where the power of locomotion was described in the nature final forces? They describe Vayu, which is prana, as locomotion, right?
Right, and it's the air prana.
Huh?
It's the air prana.
Yeah. So that's the name they gave it, because why? Because when you contain that energy, you can push you can push the energy in a tremendous way, because you take the energy and you bring it down to the base of the spine and you shoot it back up to the heart chakra and above the heart chakra, grabbing apana, right, and with it, and having the apana to mix with dhyana, samana, and udana energy in the conjunction point of the solar plexus, right? And it has a strong locomotions, and when it does that, it creates an explosion of the dhyana energy, which is the mental energy that travels throughout the entire body. So the purpose and direction of that becomes obvious. And at one point, that the combination of apana and prana, it will, because of the locomotion type force, along with the solid force that it takes it with it, because the apana becomes what you call it, a ramming yard, because it's a solid energy, but it's being moved by the locomotion energy. See, the air energy. And at one point, the air energy is going to take control and is going to clear the pathway to allow all the energies to follow it. And the udana energy is a etheric sound, is a kasa. And what it does, it becomes the carrying agent for everything, and it will carry it through the doors of Shushima. But everything has to be tamed by the use of the air quality. So the udana through mantra, and the vayu or prana through pranayama, which is control of prana, control of subtle energies. You can enter the state, conscious state where you control the flow of kundalini within the body.
Yeah, you said the carrying agent is udana or apana?
Huh?
Which one is the carrier, udana or apana?
Which is what you say?
Which is the carrier, udana or prana? I mean, or apana.
Udana. Udana is a kasa.
Oh, okay.
And a kasa is etheric sound. So when you speak, you're using, mantra is manipulating the udana or kasa energy within the body. And pranayama is activating the prana or vaya energy in the body, which manipulates the qualities of that's listed. Go back to the nature prana forces and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, we have a few questions here. How does one use his chi to move objects? For example, I was able to use my mind to push out chi to different objects by tapping into my spirit, but I don't know how I did it.
Chi is prana, and in most cases, you want to leave those type of things alone until you gain control over your concentration, contemplation, and then meditation. I mean, you can move physical objects in multiple ways. There's multiple ways to do it, and that's where the confusion comes in at. But it is best to leave those things alone until you gain control over your mind. And gaining control over your mind, you gain control over your astral body. For instance, I knew someone who was able to to move objects and to levitate, and they thought they had arrived, and the only thing they did was they was able to tap into part of the astral body in order to bring about those feats. Now, the astral body is governed by the chakras of the lower chakras, and the astral body is highly emotional. So, from the character of the person, you could tell that they had no control, and that they would do really stupid and ignorant things with their abilities, which led to many illnesses and early death. So you have to be very careful about tapping into certain energies like that, you know, and misusing those energies, because it comes with a price. So I would be very, very careful about doing those things. I mean, if someone gained control over the astral body, they can actually use the astral body to levitate their physical body. They can actually use the astral body to move objects from one place or the next. Or they can command entities on the other side to allow them to move the objects from one place to the next. And all the time, they think that they are evolving when they are involving, because they're magnifying this low negative energy instead of taming this low negative energy. Now what we're taught to do, once we raise Kundalini to the sex center and we develop our clairvoyant abilities, you know, and then we move Kundalini partially to the solar plexus center, and we gain a greater power of Kundalini, our psychic energies. We're taught to take the psychic powers and merge it with the etheric senses, which is the senses that's part of the etheric body, not the astral body, because the basic psychic senses come about when you merge the physical senses with the astral senses. And when you take control over the astral senses and the physical senses, you have psychic senses. And you have to battle through controlling all the emotions that come with it, because it's a very emotional type energy in it, and it affects the body because it's those lower centers that regulate the emotions of the body and the response of the body. But once you can bring those psychic senses and merge them with the etheric senses, then you reach in the level of adeptship and you have a greater control. And then that's where, when you hit the heart chakra, that's where moving objects and elevating and levitating and all of that, because now you have a point of control that has a huge purification thing, and where you are aware of the laws that needs to be governed in doing those things, and you can do it without having disease to take over your body. Okay, I hope you understand what I just said.
It's a comment here, I guess, I think that back when we were talking about the difference in energies in the higher mental realms. So Mozart and other classical musicians used to be upset with themselves because the music they heard in the higher realms, they weren't able to reproduce in the physical. That's true. A question, doesn't your frequency have an effect on your manifestation on any particular thought? So don't you twist that thought into your own? Doesn't your manifestation, isn't your frequency affect?
You understand what they're trying to say?
Do you want to say the question again?
Says, doesn't your frequency have an effect on your manifestation on any particular thought? Don't you twist that thought into your own?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So they're talking about the vibrational frequency
Yes.
of their own character.
Yes.
Yes.
Affects their thoughts and actions.
Yes.
The ability to manifest their thoughts and actions. Yeah.
And what they bring into manifestation.
Yeah. And that's why it's important to raise your vibrations, to raise your consciousness when projecting certain thoughts and actions.
Yeah, the master, Dr. George King, tells a story of how he was trying to communicate through someone living on the lower astral realms, and so it was very difficult to get any thoughts through. He said maybe less than 10% he was able to push through that individual. That's just the differences in the level of consciousness they're working on.
Yeah, when he was coming through that person speaking to a group of people.
Yes.
They was doing some type of seance on the lower realms, and he decided to speak to that group of people, and he could only get 10%.
Yeah.
To the group.
Another question here regarding Kundalini. Does that explain the pulses in energy? So they said they're feeling powerful for 5 hours and then feeling so sleepy for the next 4 hours or so. Viper, are you doing a specific practice that you're and that those feelings are resulting from? Or are you just speaking in general? Like how you have bursts of energy and for one moment and the next you're completely exhausted? I'm not sure.
Yeah, most people don't realize that Kundalini is all through the body. Your ability to blink your eyes is the power of Kundalini. Your ability to use your fingers, to walk, to use your arms and your hands, and wiggle your toes is all Kundalini. The power of Kundalini is the vehicle of consciousness that shapes and molds the vital energy and physical substance within the body. So when you hear about the 7 tissues, these are aspects of Kundalini, and these are things that are driven by Kundalini, along with the Ojas, which is the essence of Kundalini. So Kundalini is all those things. When the Kundalini, when the Shakti power goes into a Kundalini state, it makes it possible to manifest the astral, to manifest the mental bodies that will manifest the astral bodies, the etheric bodies, and the physical components that make up the physical body. So your senses, your sense organs, your skeleton system, all is the power of Kundalini. The bone marrow is one of the tissues that produce the red blood cells, which is one of the tissues of Kundalini. All these things are aspects of Kundalini. So when you, that's why in order to go into a full somatic state or a full rise of Kundalini, you have to drain the physical body, the astral body, and the etheric body of those energies. Although part of your etheric body is part of the Shushumna, is actually located within the etheric body. So that part of the body, the physical body, goes into an absolute state of death, and the astral body does too. The etheric body is the body that you use along with the auric body to raise your power of Kundalini. So that's kind of secret knowledge, but I give it to you anyway.
Why would that be so secretive?
I don't know, but most people don't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
They give it to you in bits and pieces, but they don't bring it together for you. But now if you go back and read the ancient teachings, you'll see it in there, since I just told you.
Should I make this? Should I make this class private? I don't think so, right? All right, are there any final questions before we close out today's session? I think we'll. So we got through these two, pick up page 2 and 3, and we'll leave the rest. And we'll leave these last 2 pages for next time. If there are no further questions, let's close today's class. Lots of good questions, lots of good discussion. If you have any additional questions or something you'd like to ask us in private, you can send us an email and we'll answer that for you. Or you can hold them to the next open discussion. Next is the 29th. Well, I doubt we'll be doing any traveling this year, so we should have an open discussion scheduled for next week. All right. The new Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next time. Have a wonderful week.